Hello, everybody, and welcome to this month's vlogcast. For those of you new to the channel, I'm Nona Baker, co-chair of MPN Voice, and I'm very fortunate to have sitting here Neil Leslie. Neil I met at a forum in Oxford earlier on this year, and he's got a really interesting story to tell about his journey from ET to MF. Neil, thank you so much for agreeing to do this. Because I think it'll be a great help to people who are progressing from ET or PV to MF. And perhaps we could start with you telling your story of how you were first diagnosed.
Certainly, yeah. Thank you for asking me and giving me the opportunity. So I was first diagnosed with ET back in 1994, and it was a bit of a journey to get diagnosed at that point. So I was basically had a large spleen, which was quite an unusual presentation for ET. So it just took ages, and in the end, following 3 bone marrow biopsies, I was actually diagnosed with ET. And at that point as well, the military just went through a medical board, and more or less sort of resulted in the end of my career at that point with the Royal Air Force.
That must have been really hard because, you know, to be diagnosed with an incurable illness is one thing, but if you've spent some time in the forces, to be forced to give it up must have been really hard for both you and your wife.
It was, but again, I look back on how things have transcribed since then. So I mean, it's worked out it's worked out quite well for me, because I've probably been away a lot. There was a lot happened since then with the military. So and you know, I've had a good fulfilled life at home rather than being away. So yeah, I look on the bright side on that one. So yeah.
So tell me, what were your symptoms when you first were diagnosed then?
Initially, it was actually a kidney infection. So I'd been away for 6 months in Bosnia. So I was sort of in the first deployment during the Bosnian War out there. And when I got back, I then presented symptoms of a urinary tract infection. And while they were investigating that, they'd done an ultrasound and found I had a very large spleen. So that all kicked off the investigation from there.
And did you suffer from anything like fatigue or any of the other symptoms that we hear about so much?
Looking back on it, yes. Also as well, headaches. And I'll probably look back over time that I was suffering from what we thought were migraines, but you actually look back on it and you think, was I struggling there? And I look back at during my time in Bosnia, and I think I probably wasn't that well, but not really realizing it. So physical fitness was actually quite a struggle at that point as well.
Yeah, and that's always hard as well, actually, when you're used to doing a lot of physical exercise.
Yes. Yeah.
And how long were you stable for a number of years with ET, or how did the progression go?
Generally, yes. I had initially went on to hydroxyurea, as it was called at the time then. So that brought my platelets went into the thousands. So that then started bringing it down, because I had a splenectomy as well. And then when that happened, my platelet count just went through the roof. Then from there, mainly on hydroxycarbamide. And I had spells, you get spells of fatigue and things like that during work, where it would be sort of just spells a few days where I would have to rest. But generally as well, from that point, I managed to improve my education. I did do university while I was working at this point. Also as well, I was at Wickham General Hospital, and I had a leukemia charity, and I ran London Marathon a couple of times for that. So you actually look back and say, yeah, actually, no, I had a good quality. I had a good quality of life through most of those years. We had blips. I had infections quite a lot. So, and generally the childhood ones, things like whooping cough and things like that. And also as well, I did have an episode where I had a DVT as well.
Goodness, that is going through the wars a bit. So you told me that you've then now progressed to MF.
Yes.
How did that happen, and how do you feel about that?
It was a shock initially, even though it's always in the back of the mind there may be a progression. So last year I started feeling, again, not really realizing it, but feeling more unwell. We thought there was other stuff because there was family, obviously family stuff going on at the time. There was a family bereavement as well. So there was elements around that. We're thinking, oh, it's probably that. But then my blood started to do different things. And then it was just decided it could well be that I could be sort of progressing around the PV side of things as well. And so done a bone marrow biopsy, and then that then came out that I had fibrosis. So I was then diagnosed with myelofibrosis.
And that was last year, was it?
That was last September, October.
Okay. And what's happened since then? How have you managed to cope with that change emotionally?
It's emotionally wise. I immediately, because I think again, because you're going through it again. You've gone through your initial diagnosis, and you sort of think back on what. And so I reached out. I was quite lucky because where I go at the Churchill Hospital in Oxford's got a Maggie Centre. So I reached out to them, and I've had counselling over the years anyway because I have had lips in mood. So reached out to them, and they were lovely enough to offer me the support of Claire, who's a clinical psychologist, and it's worked really well. But you go through the motions. You're just trying to find the tools to actually deal with them.
That's it, isn't it? It's finding the tools. But I think what you said about reaching out and contacting the Maggie Centre, or any organisation that will help you with the psychological impact, is a really important thing for people to do, and not feel afraid of asking for help, because there is help around. But then we talked about the possibility of having a stem cell transplant. How's that progressing?
Right. So initially, sort of late last year, the team that are looking after me, they just said, "Do you want to meet the transplantation team?" So again, it's one of those going, "Oh, that's serious." So yeah, so I got to meet them, and we had an initial meeting, and it was quite. It made it very real for both myself and Alison, my wife. So, but it was good because we then got blood tests done, and they were able to come back that I potentially have multiple matches of good quality. So what they're looking for is like out of 12 factors, and they've indicated that I've got 12 out of 12 for several people, which is great. I don't know who they are yet. They don't know who I am or anything like that. So, but because I'm still at intermediate 1 with regards to the prognosis side of things, and Ruxy's doing quite a good job on most of my symptoms. The issue I've got is bone pain is really the main symptom that I'm sort of dealing with. So, which is significant, and it's the disease. So it's that part of it is the other thing. But we're probably getting to a point now where we thought, oh, this could be imminent, but now we're probably having more conversations as to actually what will we be looking for when it would be the best time to go forward with a transplant.
That's encouraging. It's also quite, as you put it, quite fearful, really. It's another thing to hurdle to get over. And it's encouraging also that it's a slower process. It doesn't happen suddenly, that you've got plenty of time to come to terms with it, and all the other support that you're getting. So the bone pain sounds particularly difficult. Does that impact your ability to work?
It does, because if anyone's lived with any form of chronic pain, it's distracting. So, and it affects things like concentration and stuff. My mind wanders. It may have wandered on this recording. It's that type of thing that you just go, you suddenly realise that you're, am I in the room? So, but yeah, it impacts things like mobility. So a few weeks back, I actually had a very good couple of weeks, and I almost felt almost back to normal. But then it slowly crept back again, and over the last couple of weeks, it's been marked, and it's always there. So you wake up, it's you can feel it. I mean, generally, it's my sort of lower limbs, so the lower legs, and also down my arms and back. So it can impact, and you can just tell by things like I've got my MPN Voice tracker thingy on. So but then you're monitoring how. Generally, I can see that when I'm feeling at my worst, my pace just slows.
Okay.
You can see it recorded. So yeah, it's quite interesting.
And what about the impact on your family?
I think emotionally, yeah, it's difficult. I mean, I can't even think what, as a spouse, what my wife's thinking around this, particularly as well, because we've been living with an MPN for so long. So, and it's just changed. So yeah, it's that impact. So yeah, it's quite, I mean, another part is my mum. My mum's just sort of gone into a home and doesn't really know what's going on, and that actually is quite a relief. So is that part of it, that she's not fully aware of exactly what's happening as well. So that's one part, but it's impacting all the family, and it's a shock.
Well, it is a shock, isn't it? Because, I mean, the only cure is the stem cell transplant, actually.
Yes.
And it's such a big hurdle to climb. But I think even those are getting better and better all the time. When we were in Leeds last year, I was talking to somebody who does stem cell transplants up there. And again, take it back 10, 15 years ago, it's very much better now than it was then, the process. It's not an easy process, but actually it's that blue sky at the end of it, isn't it? The hope that things will be different.
It is. And there's the Blood Cancer UK book on it. So it's really good. So we actually we got a copy and donated Blood UK to get a copy for main members of the family, so they could see the stages of it as well. So it'll make it easier for them to understand and maybe ask relevant questions. Yeah, it's significant. There's risks, so it's just one of those that you need to sort of fully understand. And speaking to the transplant team, they say MF is actually one of the most difficult ones to make that decision as to when to go for it. So there's a lot of work. I mean, now I've loads of Googling, just looking at papers just to see what's coming out and what they're saying around it. And they're getting more and more data to work out really when the best time. But yeah, it's still one that they're probably, the most one that they struggle to say, yeah, you should go for that, because you've got to be fit enough to do it. And
definitely, because you have to have all the chemotherapy to begin with.
Yes. Yeah.
But you look as if you're reasonably fit.
Yeah, I know, that's part of the thing. I did temporarily reduce my time at work down to 3 days. And the mayor, like, it's a Thursday today. So the main thing is to try and get out, just do walking, get some good fitness as much as I possibly can. But you need time to do that as well, and you need time to rest. So it is that.
Yeah. The other thing that MPN Voice do is that we do have a buddy system, and it's possible for us to match up somebody who's been through a stem cell transplant to be a buddy to help someone like yourself go through the stages that you're going through and come out the other end. Yeah. Because sometimes hearing it from somebody who's been there, done that, and got the T-shirt kind of helps, doesn't it, really, as a patient?
It does. And I mean, if you look at your background, obviously with the charity stuff that you've been doing with this, but until I went to the Churchill, I had no knowledge of MPN Voice. Yeah, it's one of those, and it just shows you, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, we're working very, very hard.
I know. Absolutely.
to actually, by doing the forums and by,
Yes.
doing our webinars, online webinars, to actually spread the word. Because the one thing about MPN Voice is that all the information on our website is accurate, and
Mm.
we're under the umbrella of Guy's and St Thomas's Foundation and have an amazing medical team as part of MPN Voice, so that the mantra has always been to deliver accurate information and support. But that's really interesting. I promise you, we're working on it. But
Oh,
it's good,
absolutely. Yeah, I know. It's
it's good
just,
to
it
hear that
shows you, it's trying to
yeah.
get into the relevant hematology departments around the country, isn't it? It's
Well,
if
yeah,
they're not interested or don't see it as where we're a small number of people.
I
It,
know,
it's
I know. Well, that now, having heard that from you, Neil, that'll have to be a goal to certainly reach hospitals that perhaps aren't equipped.
and if something I can help with, I'm more
That's
than willing to
brilliant.
help with.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's brilliant. But I think you sound as if you've got such a positive attitude, and that helps also.
I think it does, but there's days when it's not like that. I think that's just put where people just got to ignore and got to have their own journey with it.
Yeah.
It's quite interesting when you look at things like sort of patient forums on Facebook and stuff like that. I think really anyone, particularly newly diagnosed, you just got to find your own way. It's your own journey.
It is, and everybody's different. And
Yeah.
I always say that I'm quite lucky in that I've had 34 years of a reasonable journey. But I come across patients, particularly with MF, who really struggle. I mean,
Mm.
people who are anemia, who transfusion dependent because of anemia, have a really, really difficult life. And
Yeah.
so, I think you're right. Everybody's got their own journey, and I'm always mindful of people who have a really tough journey. Because,
Absolutely.
not everybody's as lucky as I've been, certainly.
Mm.
Um, but there's hope, and this is the
Absolutely.
thing. There's hope. There's a lot of new medications coming down the line, particularly for MF, and so we're living in a time where medical science is advancing hugely.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But Neil, it's been great to talk to you, and
You too.
thank you so much. And it's I think my message that I've picked up from you is just take it bit by bit,
Yes.
and take time to come to terms with the change in the diagnosis, and then be dependent on your team, but also don't hesitate to reach out and seek further help, like you said, with Maggie's or with some psychological counselling or something, because that all helps.
Absolutely.
And
Absolutely.
I often think if we're mentally um, a little calmer over it, and less anxious, we don't feed the anxiety and
Mm.
feed the illness.
Yes. Yeah. And it's something that actually, they say we as a group potentially are at higher risk of. So it is, and I've lived that. You do see it. It does. It does. There are spells, be it medication or a disease that cause that. So yeah, definitely just go for what's right for you, but you might not know what that is yet. You need to try things.
I
So yeah,
think that's absolutely right. Don't be afraid of trying different
yeah,
things.
yeah,
That's really
absolutely.
good. Well, again, thank you, and I look forward to seeing you again soon.
Yeah, you too.